There, welcome back to the channel. I am the Jedi here on a solo adventure. I'm actually doing an actor's life vlog, and I am waking up in beautiful Missoula, Montana. So about 4 months ago, I auditioned for this show, and I was booked, but it wasn't shooting until the end of July. So here I am, end of July, in Missoula, Montana. Now, I can't tell you the production, but I'll just say we're in Montana, so it's probably a Western. All right, so I'll just do some vlog about where I'm at, maybe show you where I'm holding, and all these things that actors go through when they're on set. So join me for this cool actor vlog. The wake-up call this morning that I gave myself was 5:30. I have to be picked up by a production assistant to be taken to the set from my hotel, and I am staying at the Wood Springs Suites in Missoula. It's a 2-star hotel, but that's all right. I didn't pay for it, but it was comfortable. Air conditioning is nice and cool, and it suits its purposes. I'm here for 2 nights. I shoot today, and then I fly home tomorrow. And tomorrow my flight leaves at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna have to get up really early. But yeah, full disclosure, they flew me out here from Georgia to Montana and put me up in this hotel. And now I get to go be a cowboy for a day and then fly back out tomorrow. Pretty cool. So now I am at the base camp for this production. I will not be able to take any kind of video down at the actual set, but here we are. It is a lovely, well, it's in the 50s here in Montana, and the scenery is just lovely. These mountains are awesome. Love it, love it, love it. They're having the department heads meeting right now, which essentially they go over the shooting schedule for the day and what's required and all of that. Meanwhile, I'm just waiting to get my call to go get my wardrobe on, get my hair and makeup done, so I can transform into my character for the day. It's awesome, love it. So I'm coming in on the last day of the shoot of this particular production, but it's also the last day for the shoot of this particular season. All right, so as an actor, when you walk in new to a production with a group of people that have been working together for months, you always feel a little bit lonely. But I'm lucky to have both 2 people on set, the executive producers that I've worked with before for other shows. So that helps. You know, it can be very lonely on set if you're brand new. So at least new to the production. So I'm very glad to have these 2 guys here. It's a little kind of like a safety blanket, which is cool. Okay, so I wasn't able to take the camera down to the set. Now, most times when you're filming something, you spend a lot of time at base camp and not on the actual set itself. Only for this production, I was there for almost the entire day. Which is good and bad because I wasn't filming the entire day. In fact, the first part of the day, until after lunch, I wasn't filming at all. So I spent time just kind of sitting on the ground because there wasn't any seat for us who were sitting there waiting, and just admiring the Montana scenery. But
during the filming in the morning, it started to rain. So they had one pop-up shelter that they used to cover equipment and props and that sort of thing. And then they had period tents because it's a Western. So the actors, we all kind of just went into a period tent and chilled there. And as I said earlier in the video, I was brand new to set, so really no one knew me much there. And so I was in a tent all by myself while everyone else was hanging out with each other. Perfectly fine. I backed up a little bit. I did film one thing in the morning. It was one little incidental thing. And they drove me away from the set about 10 minutes to a different location where we filmed that little bit and then drove me back. But so again, I spent the entire morning. So my call was 7:30, 7:45, something like that. And from 7:45 until after 2, I spent just sitting around, which is what you usually do. Only I was at set, so I couldn't, videotape anything. On a production like this, now there are other productions that I've done where they will take your phone completely. But in this case, you could bring your phone to the set, but you just couldn't record on it. So, you could check your email and whatnot, and I wasn't going to sneak anything because that's just bad pool. But, yeah, so when we got there and they were finished with everything, getting ready to go, I went through makeup and went through makeup real quick. And you sit there and they put sunscreen on you, and then they dirty you up because it's a Western, and cover up any blemishes you may have. After that, I went to the costume trailer, and they picked out some clothes for me to wear. We spent about probably 10 to 15 minutes trying to find the proper hat for my character. So that was that was cool. But and the costumer for this production was the director in a production I did before, but he was like the actual director, not just the costume director. So that was fun. It was fun reconnecting with him. But and once I got my costume, man, one thing about getting in costume as an actor is you really start to feel like you're the character, So I'm wearing the clothes and I'm in the space, and it really is very, very cool. So yeah, they took us from base camp down to where the set was, and it's in Montana, so it's not up a mountain, but it's in hilly and mountainous areas. But they took us in a truck essentially, and man, I wish I'd ridden a horse up there because the truck was really bumpy going up there. We crossed a stream in the truck and all that. But the camp was set up really cool, and I've been a Civil War reenactor in the past, and it looked just kind of like that. So that was fun. They filmed their scenes. They waited for the rain. There was lightning around, and so they had to wait like 20 minutes after the last bolt of lightning before they could do anything again. And it didn't put us behind schedule because we basically went to lunch when we were supposed to. But they finished filming everything without me in the morning, so that after lunch it was my turn to come in. And I had 3 scenes to film. And it was filmed in the order of the scenes, but the scenes that I were in will happen at the beginning of the movie, of the show. And but they filmed it that way because the gentleman who's the main focus of the production was supposed to age with a beard and all that, and so he comes in without a beard, and so they filmed all the stuff with the beard first, and then they shaved him and then brought him back out, and we did our scenes together. So one thing, when you're, with this script, I was given it well in advance, but there was like no communication between you or the director. And so you come up with your own idea of the way the character should be done and played, based upon what research you've done. It was an actual person, so I did research on him. And then the rest of the script and the tone of the production that you know from past shows, that sort of thing. And so we get there, and it's time for me to film my scene, and we get in place, and let's rehearse it. And so I did it the way I had been rehearsing it, and it ends up being that it wasn't that it was bad, but it was not what the director had in mind for the character in this particular scene. So now you've got to stop, shift gears in your head, and try to get on the same page as the director. Because I'm not an A-list star. I can't say, well, you know, I'm going to do it this way. I don't care what you say. So you have to then bring the director's vision to your performance. So, and to be quite honest, it took a couple of takes before I got to where he wanted it to be. And but once we got there, it was fine, you know. But it's one of those things in my head. I'm like, oh my god, I don't belong here. I suck. This is going to be terrible. They're going to fire me and bring somebody else. You know, all that kind of stuff goes through your head. At least it goes through my head. But so we did that scene, and it was fine. All right, that took probably about an hour. So we moved on to a different location for the next scene, which was really neat. But that is also, we had, you know, we trucked us in, and then we had to walk down, and it was on a little river and all that. And so this scene actually went really well. And the guy who I was partners with in the scene, he's very good, and he's been in a few other things, but you're really going to like him in this production. So we got through that scene, and then we went to just right down from where we were for the second scene. So now we're for the third scene, which is the final scene between the main character and myself. So we moved over to a different place, and we did that scene, and that went exceptionally well. It was really, really cool. And during all the scenes that I did, and the second scene that we did, they wrote in like a paragraph for me to say extra, which is great. You get extra lines, but they're like, okay, go say this with everything else that you're doing. So, you know, and don't panic, it's fine. As an actor, once you memorize things and start to memorize them, it becomes easier. And so I was able to do that on the fly. And actually, I got it word for word, which is really neat. But so they let us improv a little bit. So I did my scene, my main dialogue with the other actor, and then the camera's still rolling. I went off and I did a little bit, improv bit with another character, with a horse and all of that. So to my disappointment, I didn't have to ride in this production. I have been riding horses for many years, and in fact I was a cavalry reenactor at one point, as well as a jouster with Renaissance festivals all throughout the country and up into Canada. So I know my way around a horse, and I was really looking forward to doing it, but the character didn't need to be on a horse in these scenes that I did. So all told, we spent from like 7:45 until about 8 o'clock at night, 7:45 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, doing the production. So and it was neat because afterwards, and people were coming up to me that, you know, again, as I said earlier in the video, that you can feel very lonely because you don't know anybody. But by the end of the day, they were coming up to me, people I didn't even know, say, hey, you know, like I didn't get to introduce myself, but that was really great. You know, that last scene was really awesome, and the director came up to me afterwards and gave me some nice words of you know, he said nice things about me, and so it was really cool. And also, you know, again, it can be all about networking, but the guy who was the costume designer for this particular episode is the director, as I said, and he said he had something that he was doing, which I might get a call for. So that would be exceptionally cool. But you know, overall, it was a really, really nice day on set. And I'm sorry I only had one. They filmed 4 days for this particular episode, and I was the last day of the 4. But and it probably won't air for like another year. They just finished running the current season, so it won't be probably for another year. And but when it does premiere, I will certainly let you all know. But yeah, so again, I'm so very sorry that I wasn't able to show you more of what they had going on there. But you know, just even though it was a non-union production, and that is how we were able to film it. I know right now we're in the midst of a SAG-AFTRA and writer's strike, but this show was outside of that, so it wasn't union. I am not union. I am not SAG, so I'm not scabbing anything or doing anything I wasn't supposed to be doing. So, and these folks that were also in this production, they weren't SAG either. So no one broke any rules or anything like that. But, you know, it was nice to actually work, and it was nice to be flown out and treated kind of like a VIP, except for, you know, having to sit on the ground and hang out in a 18th century, or I'm sorry, 19th century tent when it was raining. But you know what? I can't complain. They paid me well, and you know, they paid for the hotel. They paid for the flights, both to and from. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about you know, anything that I've said or at all, just comment below, and I'll try to answer those questions. But so now I'm going to show you just a little bit of footage of me leaving Montana. But great. Have a good night.
So I'm leaving after my day of filming. I'm at the Missoula airport. It is small, but very nice. And people here are very nice. But there's one terminal with tickets. So if you ever fly into Missoula, you won't have a problem finding your way around. That's for sure.
Of an evacuation, leave all carry-on items behind.
All exits are clearly marked with an exit sign. Please take a moment to find the exits closest to you, and remember, they might be behind you. If there's a loss of
So I'm on the last leg of my journey. I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the airport, heading towards Atlanta. I just want to say that I have been to this airport before, and it was one of the worst nights of my life. Nah, it wasn't that bad, but I had to spend the night here. One time because a flight got canceled, and this airport, this was a couple years ago, this airport tests their alarm system in the middle of the night. So you're trying to sleep, and there goes the fire alarm. But, you know, it is what it is. But I just want to say, too, that there must be a lot of alcoholics that come through this airport, because there's a bar every 10 feet in this airport. Huh, you know. But they have, they do have charging stations, also like every 10 feet, so, you know, never run out of battery. But anyway, so, yeah, just wanted to say that about the bars. It's kind of weird, but...